Hello everyone, thanks for joining again. Let's continue our journey from zero to hero in development, right? So in last class, we learned how to use GitHub codespaces, how to install juniorit.ai extension and use the AI assistant. We practiced some coding exercises. We also know what is Figma, and we also learned how to create our first React app using React and TypeScript. So these are the table of contents for today's class. A day in the life of a developer. Today we will see what a day looks like in the life of a developer. Do some research work on project, a photo blog with visitor counter using the local storage of your browser. Then we will edit the project, add a visitor counter. Then we will do some code practice. Then we will also debug some error by using developer's best friend, Google and AI. And then we save our project to GitHub. So today we have a very good guest today, Angelina. So I will ask some questions to Angelina. So, hey Angelina, how are you?
Doing good.
Great. So do you know how a day in the life of a full stack developer looks like?
I assume it's just like coding and then like taking code from the internet and kind of editing it to make it fit with your project and what you need it to do.
Yeah, basically a typical example of copy pasting, right? So let's see how a day in the life of a full stack developers looks like. So he's our full stack developer, Elon Musk. So a full stack developer either maintain an old project, like developers add new features and fix the bugs in an like already existing project, or either they will build a new project entirely from scratch. And in today's class, we will do the same. We will try to build a new project entirely from scratch. So let me share one Figma design to you. And I'm going to share the link in the comment box. You can click on the link and a new tab and a new tab will appear on your screen. Yeah. So in the last segment of our previous class, we are able to create our React app using Figma design. So we are using a React TypeScript to build a one-page blog website having a visitor counter. In our previous class, we just done the blog part only. We haven't added the visitor counter to it. But in today's class, we are going to do all of these things from scratch. But how to add a visitor counter, right? Because we are just a beginner, right? We do not know much more about React and TypeScript. But then how can we add like a visitor counter to this blog application? So anyone wants to answer that? How we can do this? Okay, so let me share. Let me tell you. Today we will also do research for some project and we are going to use Google and GitHub for the research. Then we are going to deconstruct the project to know how the project is made and recreate something with modifications. We add our own version to it. Okay, so let's do this. First, let's do a Google search. Okay. Okay, no worries. Let's first do a Google search. So I'm going to give you a text to search for or a keyword. So we are going to search. Let me just give that in comment box. Yeah. So Angelina, just, copy the text or the keyword and paste it into your Google search.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just search for the keyword that I have given you in the chat box, please. So how to build a blog website in React and TypeScript. We are going to search Google for that. So there are like several results available on Google. Some are videos result. So you can watch these videos and learn how to build a blog. And you can also read these blogs also. So you can visit these sites, or alternatively, we can do one more thing. We can use GitHub to research for a project. Because in GitHub, you can find several, open source projects that are free to use. So let's now search GitHub for a project. So the link in your chat box, just click on the link and you will find yourself in the GitHub website. So Angelina, do you know what GitHub is?
It's like some sort of website that developers can use to like collaborate and do their work.
Yeah, obviously. That's a good answer, Angelina. Yes, GitHub is a website in which like developers post their, upload their products, or you can say projects. And these projects have like varying conditions. Some projects are open source that anyone can use in their own project. If for some project, there are some commercial constraints to it that you can use that project into your like private part, like for your private projects, but for a commercial use, you have to pay some money. So this is the whole idea of GitHub, to collaborate, and also a version control system is integrated in GitHub. So we will also learn about what a version control system is. Just focus on this, please. Yeah. So I'm just giving you one more text, one more keyword, and the keyword is blog React TypeScript. So let's try to search that blog React TypeScript keyword in the GitHub. In the search bar, you just have to search for blog React TypeScript. And you will get many projects to play around with. You can choose any project to reverse engineer. There are like so many projects available here, but which one to choose now, right? So let me give you one project, URL of a project. This project is similar to our previous project, so it will be easier for us to work now, because in that way we do not have to learn everything from scratch. We know something about this project. Just click on the link. Let me just close this. Yeah. So this project is similar to our previous project. So before working on a new project, there are two things you have to like take care of. First, always check readme.md file. So it's the readme.md file you can see here. Yeah. So a good readme.md file should clearly mentions everything you need to know to set up a project, and the details of the project, like how to install the dependencies and how to run the project. See, in this readme.md file, we have several like lines of codes or several like descriptions that say we can use this project pretty easily because it's more descriptive. All the details are written here, like all the commands and how to start the project, how to install the dependencies. So this is a good readme.md file. You should always write a good readme.md file or markdown file to help other developers. And the second thing, you have to check for the license file. Just click on this MIT license and just read about the license. So different open source licenses have varying permissions and restrictions. Some licenses may allow you to use the software for like any purpose, while others may limit its usage, particularly in commercial applications. So knowing the license helps you understand that you are allowed to do with the code. So this is a MIT license and it's an open source license. You can use this project for your own purpose, but you just have to, preserve the original copy of this license. So we are going to take care of these things. Let again come to our readme.md file. So let's start development now. Enough talk. So there is one new link in your chat box, the link for codespaces. Just like in our previous class, in today's class also, we are going to use codespaces. And just click on codespaces. Then use the blank template as the same way we have done in our previous class. Just click on use this template. And I am going to use this light theme. Okay. Let me just increase the size a bit. Yeah. Hey, Angelina, if your setup is done, can you please, inform me?
All good.
Thank you. Then after like having this setup, yeah. Okay. We close this. Yeah. Fine. So now we have to install our juniorit.ai extension. So just click on the extensions button and search here Junior IT. And just click on the install button. And see, we are able to install the extension. Again, I am saying this because we are using the light theme. That's why we are not able to see the extension here. But it's available here. You can just, hover around it and you will get the text juniorit.ai. Now let's try to copy the project now. Let me just close this and keep it up in full screen. Yeah. So let's again visit our GitHub project and see how to copy that project or how to set up the project. To set up the project, first we have to copy this command. So let's just copy this command. I'm just going to paste the same command here. Just copy this command and paste into your terminal. If you are not able to see your terminal, you can just click here and click on new terminal. And just click on the log button. Yeah, hello.
Able to hear me?
Yeah, Rohan, say.
Yeah, so you copied the first command. So beside there was a copy button. So if you copy the whole thing and just paste it there, is it gonna like execute the next command also?
Yeah, it's going to be like copied all those commands.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. And what I want you to do is that to teach you everything step by step. So that's why.
Sure, Ghosh.
Yeah. So just use the git clone command and hit enter. And it will clone the project for you, right? And you can verify that by clicking in your Explorer. See, you have a new folder and the name of the folder is my blog. Now, let's see the second command. And the second command is cd my blog. From our previous class, we do know that cd stands for change directory, and we can change our directory or change our folder using cd command. So let's copy this command also. So project building is just about copy pasting, right? You just copy paste some code, edit some code, modify the bugs, remove the bugs, and the project is all yours. Now we are inside my blog. You can see that. Now there is one more command, npm install. But in a previous class, we haven't used the command npm install. So Angelina, do you know why we need npm install command? Or like any one of you wants to answer that? Why do we need npm install command right now?
To install the dependencies.
Yeah, Rohan, good. Okay. So let's again move to our code spaces. Let me show you something. So inside my blog, we have a source folder and app.tsx. And see, these are the error messages shown to us by GitHub codespaces. But there are no error messages on import, React, functions, and all these things. So do you know why? Why the error is only to this part and not this JavaScript code? Angelina, do you know why?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So let me tell you, up to the line number 4, the code is a JavaScript code. And after like line number 7, 8, 9, 10, the code is your React code. And we haven't installed all the dependencies that are needed for React. So let me just show you this. Let's just click on package.json. And you can see there are lots of dependencies available here. And we haven't installed these dependencies. We just copied the project. We also have to install the dependencies into our GitHub code spaces. So that's why it is showing an error. Okay. So now to remove this, let's again copy npm install. And hit enter. All the dependencies were installed by using the command. And in our previous class, we have used this command. This command automatically also install the dependencies from scratch. So that's why we haven't need to use npm install in our previous class. Okay, so we are able to install all these dependencies. Now let's run the project and use npm start. No, Aniket, package.json files contains the information of all the dependencies that are needed to run the project, right? Maybe in your system, you haven't installed React. So we have a package.json file that contains all the informations of the dependencies that are needed to run the project. Then you have to install all those dependencies in order to run your project or in order to set up your project perfectly.
Kaushal, so if there is any other file than package.json, so can we mention that also, like, or is it compulsory that it should be a package.json?
By default, the name of the file is package.json. So that's why we have to like see first the dependencies that are written in package.json file. But sc.json is like a file format for JavaScript. You can have different JSON files also. So .json is not related to package only. .json is just an extension.
No, I was saying like only one file, package.json. Can we name it to any other thing? Like have
No,
a
you
different
cannot.
app dependence?
No.
No, so
None. Yeah, because see, there are some default file structures. You cannot play around with everything, right? Then you have to also change the name around, like in the original source also.
okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay, good. So now when you will like write npm start, right? Your application will start. Maybe you have like you haven't allowed the pop-up, so you can just click on allow if a pop-up appear for you. So now, oh, Mr. Donald Trump, right? So, but we want our own picture. So I want to replace this picture. So let's edit the project. But as a beginner, we don't know how to edit the source code. So how can we search for this particular source code? The source code that represents the image and the text here. Anyone wants to give some feedback about this?
Developer tools.
Yeah, surely we can use developers tools. But right now, as we are using GitHub codespaces, it's a remote computer. So we do not know, right, how the file structure is. Surely you can write, you can just search for it like from going from one folder to another. Yeah, Niket, we have to copy the file name and search in codespaces. But we cannot copy the whole file name. So let me just give you one tip. So see, in this file, there contains two segments of it. One is a picture and the other one is a text. If we are able to, search for the text, because you cannot search for the picture, right? But you can easily search for the text. And if you're able to search for the text, the same file do contains the picture also. So let's search for the text. So I'm going to search, let's take Donald here. Yeah. So I have given the same, text in the chat box also. Let's again come to our GitHub codespaces. Yeah. And you can use search option here and just write Donald here. Just click on this search option and type Donald here. That's it. and you will find the source code for it. Let me just click on this. Yeah. See, we are able to find the source code of the file. Just above the text Donald, we have the image. So I think no problem up to this point. So any questions regarding to this? Yeah, thank you. So Angelina, any questions regarding to this?
Nope.
Thank you so much. Now we are able to find the source code for it, right? But see, here is the address for this as like source. But we also have to find the actual file, the actual image also, right? So to find the file, we can search for Donald. We have done that. But we also have to search for the actual source code of this file, like the actual image. So from this, we know the name of the file is Trump portrait 632 by 800.jpg. This is the name of the picture that is represented here. So let's search for this file. So I'm going to give you one prompt and we are going to ask AI how to find one file. Yeah. So now you will have one prompt, how to find one file with name Trump portrait.jpg or jpg in Linux by shell. So just click on your juniorit.ai code assistant. And just paste this and click on ask now. So just do this, and if you're able to do so, just type 1 in the chat box so that I can proceed. You just have to copy the text and paste it in juniorit.ai assistant extension. Okay. So we are able to do so. I'm sorry, the mic drops. Yeah. So we are able to do so now. We just have to copy this command and yeah. And just to close this terminal or to close this process, just use Control C. It will close the process. And you just have to copy this command and paste it here. And see the magic. Just double click it. Yeah. Use Control plus click and this file will appear here. And you will also have the address for this file. So this file contains in the public folder. // means in the same order in which you are. Currently you are in the same folder in which folder you are currently in. So we are currently in my blog. So inside my blog, there is one public folder, and inside public folder, you will have the Trump portrait. So let's verify this. So we are in my blog in the current folder. Inside current folder, there is one public folder, and inside public folder, we have the Trump portrait. See, in order to change the portrait, we again have to, move some new image or download some new image into the same public folder. Okay. So up to this point, I already told you, you can use a text to search for the source code of a file. Now, sometimes you are not able to find the source code of a file using text, just like in our previous class in the StrepI video, in the debugging class, we are not able to find the source code using the search option. In that case, we use grep command. So let's again try to, search using the command also. Let me give you one more text. Just copy this text and click on Ask Now. So we have just written how to find the string trump in directory using shell commands. Before this, we have used the search option. Now we are using the shell commands. And we also display numbers along with the matching lines. So now it is showing to use the directory path. Let's just delete this and just write dot here. Dot means in the current folder. So just copy this and paste this here. See, we are also able to find this file. This file is in app.tsx. So either you can use the shell commands or either you can use the search option. It's up to you. But sometimes search option do not work, but the shell commands work always. And AI is also suggesting us how we can use the grep command with explanation. You can also read about the explanation. So now we know the source code is app.tsx. App.tsx file contains the source code for it. And we also know the file is available in the public folder. So now let's just change the image now. So I am going to use this image. So let me just paste this in chat box. Yeah. Just show you the image. Yeah. So I want to use this image, right? So in our previous classes, we use URL to show some images. Now we are going to download an image from the internet to a remote Linux server and save it to a different file name. But Angelina, do you know how to download an image from internet and also save it to a remote Linux server?
No, but we can ask ChatGPT or Google it.
Yeah. That's the answer of like a typical full stack senior developer. A senior developer do not learn anything. He just understand the concepts. So yes, Aniket, we can use the web get command, but let's ask AI first. Let me just give you one more text to search for. So this is the text, how to download an image from internet to a remote Linux server and save it to a different file name. Let's again come to GitHub codespaces. Yeah. And click on Ask Now. So please type one in the chat box if you are able to follow along with me so that I can proceed. Yeah, thank you, brother. So we can either use curl command or the wget command as suggested by Aniket and AI. So let me first just close this file and close this app.tsx also. Now let's again, yeah. So let me use clear. Yeah. So now first we have to move to the public folder. because we have used the commands to know where the Trump portrait is. Trump portrait is inside public. So we will also move to public. Then I am going to copy this command, and in the URL part, I am just going to use the URL that I have given to you in the chat box. So let me just give you the whole command. So just remember, do not add space between the URL and the commas, because it will also consider as a character. And hit enter. Let's again come to Explorer and see, we have a new file, new image.jpg or JPG. See, we are able to find the or download the file and save it to a remote computer. Just use this command and just, take care of one thing. You must have to be in public folder. Otherwise, you have to move your file to public folder. Let's again come to app.tsx and just change the file name. And this time I'm going to write new image name. Save this. So I have replaced the photo. Let me just give you the same name in the chat box. Yeah. And let's again reload the app. Okay. So we as we have like already stopped the application, we again have to start the application. Now in my blog, just write npm start again. See, magic. We are able to change the image. Just type 1 in the chat box if you are able to do so. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. You all are fast students, fast learners. That's great. Yeah. So Angelina, do you know what's the difference between this blog and the Figma design that I showed to you? What's the next thing we have to do in this application or my blog?
The visitor counter.
Yeah, that's correct. Now let's add visitor counter to the app. Thanks, Aniket, for the compliment. Yeah. So, but what is a counter? Any idea about the counter or any counter that you use in your daily life? Like any example of counter?
Footsteps.
Yeah. Steps can be also considered as a counter. So let me show you one counter. And I can like guarantee you that every one of you have used that counter. So let me show you this. So this is a Google timer counter, right? So in the same way counter works, right? It will count from 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, and so on. +1, +1, +1. Yeah. So do you know any other counter that is related to computer science? Hey, Angelina, do you want to answer that?
I'm not sure about related to computer science.
Okay, no, that's okay. So Aniket is saying the increment operator. Yes, that also works like a counter. It also counts +1 +1. So now let me introduce you one more important counter, the program counter in CPU. So let's search for the program counter in CPU and let's use Google to search for that. Yeah. Let me just, rearrange my window a bit. Yeah. So let's see program counter in CPU. Just use Google to search for that. And whenever I do some research work using Google, I always look for images because using images, you get a better idea for the concept. So this image looks good. So let me just open image in a new tab. Okay, so this is a smaller image. This looks big here. So, yeah, now it's good. So as we know, CPU executes instructions one by one. And as CPU executes one instruction, value of program counter increases by 1. Right? So right now it's 4. So the CPU must have executed the instruction number 3 here. After that 4. So it will just increase by 1 every time CPU executes one instruction. Similarly, we will add a visitor counter to our app. So I have just shown you what a program counter is, and program counter is just, a way in which CPU, CPU track the number of instructions that it has executed. So we will have another course later to introduce how operating system uses program counter to run multiple tasks on a single CPU core. Even a single CPU core can run multiple tasks. And in that case, like program counter has a very important role in it. So now let's again come to our React app. So just know there is something called as program counter, and every time a CPU executes one instructions, the value of program counters increases by 1. So let's just close this. Yeah. So let's again come to our code and ask AI again. So I have just given you one text. Just again click on juniorit.ai extension and paste this text here. So the text is, please create a one-page blog having a visitor counter using local storage with React and TypeScript, and just click on ask now. Please type 1 in the chat box after doing this, after the AI has generated some response for you, because now we are going like together to build this visitor counter. Okay. Okay, thanks Angelina and Rohan. Now I can, and also Aniket. Now I can proceed. So now one more important trick that I'm going to show you. We are going to compare two different files and compare the code and copy paste the code just like a good reverse engineer, right? So let's first see the code here, this one, blogpage.tsx, because this is just the routing file and this is the main file that contains the code for the visitor counter. Okay. So let me just increase the window size. Yeah. So in this code, you can see it has imported React and also use state and use effect. And in our case, we just have imported React. So let's just copy this file, copy this line. And I am going to remove this line here and save the code. Again, let's again try to, let me just decrease the size. Yeah. Okay. So again, it also has one div that has the visitor counter. This is the React JSX code. So let's again copy this. And before the last div, yeah. So let me just paste this here. Okay. So the problem is the code doesn't know what's the visitor counter. No problem. Now, after this, let's again, yeah, to return the code is same. The text can be different. The image can be different, but that doesn't matter. Yeah. So after return, we have this code. Let's copy this. And after our function application, just like function block page, I am going to paste this code and save the file. Let me just check this code for once. Yeah. Everything looks good. No problems. Let's pray to God and see if our application is working or not. Let me first use Control C. Yeah, sorry. Control C. Then again, I am going to use npm start. And see the magic of AI. Just by copy pasting and editing some code, we are able to add visitor counter here. So every time we reload the app. Reloading the app means visiting the app. The value of visitor counter is increasing. So just try to do this. And if you're able to do so, just type 1 in the chat box. Okay, Angelina is able to do so. Good, Aniket. Yeah, pretty good, Rohan. All of you are now full stack developers. Now we have a visitor counter working in our app like quite perfectly. Like we have some. Sure, Rohan. Yeah. Thank you, Satyajit. Yeah. So now I will give you some tasks, and to do the task, we will use the task page. Let me just give you the URL. So this is our interactive task environment. Just click on this and this type of interface will appear on your screen. So I'm going to give you some tasks now. Just click on the link and open this link and type 1 in the chat box if you're able to do so. Yeah, thank you, Angelina. So I am going to give you first task. I think you have got your first task. Yeah. If you got your first task, just type 1 in the chat box. Okay. Thank you, Aniket. Thanks, Angelina. Okay. So now I can proceed. Perfect. Yeah. So now I have written, give me example of if else statement. And there is one general button. Just click on this and choose. Let me just, adjust my window a bit, because the chat box is just interfering with the button. Yeah. Okay. Just click on JavaScript and click on Ask AI. So AI has given some examples of how to use if else statement. Now, if I run it, what will be the answer according to you? You can also use run button and it will show you the answer. Because we know number 10 is greater than 0, that's why its number is positive. See, easy, just plain English. Let's give it the value of 100 and let's again run it. Now the number is negative. And if I will use 0 and number 10 here, minus 10 here, just run it. And see, number is negative. So we know how if else work. If this condition is true, yeah, let me just mute him. Yeah. So if this condition is true, this statement is going to execute. Otherwise, this statement is going to execute. Now, so let me give you one more task. So this is a very easy example. So now I will give you an interesting task. Or let's try to, modify this. Let's just delete this. So Angelina, what do you think? What is going to be printed onto the screen? Yes or no? I have taken an empty string this time. So what do you think? Okay, maybe some other student wants to answer that. So according to Rohan, the answer will be no. Anyone else wants to try that? So Aniket is saying yes. So let's try to run that. And the answer is yes. The answer is yes, because even I have, like, the string is not empty. There is one space, and space is also considered as a character. Yeah. Yeah, Aniket, thank you. Thank you for the explanation. Space is also considered as a character. Let me just give you one more task. And this one is pretty interesting. So from this example, we know space is also considered as a character. Let me just delete the space. And anyone wants to answer that? What will be the answer now? Yes or no? I have just deleted the space. It's empty. Okay. So Angelina is saying no. Just try to run this. And the answer is no. Because there is no character this time. So let me again give you one more task. It's the same task for this time. You have to choose C, not JavaScript. And click on Ask AI. Yeah, JavaScripts do surprises, Rohan. Let me again adjust this. Yeah, this window. And this time I'm going to write here no. Let's again. So now, what do you think? What's the answer? Is it yes or no? Let's first give a space. First use a character, space character this time. So what do you think the answer will be? Yes or no? Okay. So Rohan is saying yes. Let's try to run it. The answer is yes. No, no error. Let's delete the space. And now, before just hitting the run button, just try to answer this. Either will be yes or no. Like 1 for yes and 0 for no. Let's create a poll. Okay. So Aniket, Rohan, even Angelina is saying no. Okay, good. So let's try to run this. And the answer is yes. So Rohan was saying JavaScript surprises. I think C also surprises you. No, it's not a scam. So do you know why this is working like this? Angelina, do you want to answer that?
I have no idea.
It's okay. Even none of us has any idea about this. Yeah. So in C, like the if statement, just check the address of the string. Even if it's an empty string, it's an empty string. There is no, even there is no space. It's an empty string, but still we have created one string and that string also has some address, right? So in the case of C, it's just check the address of the string. But in case of JavaScript, it's check whether the string is empty or not. If there is no character, then the string is considered to be empty. If there is even a space character, then the string is considered to be non-empty. But in case of C, it just check the address of the string. Even this string looks empty to you, like 0, no, not even a single space character, but still we have created one string and in the memory it do have one address. So that's why, because there is one address, that's why always it will be, by default it will be converted to true and this statement is going to be executed. So any questions regarding this? Okay, thank you, Rohan. Now let's proceed because we are short on time. Yeah. And I'm going to give you one last task. Let me just assign task to you. Yeah. So in this task, there is going to be one code, and you just have to click on translate to and choose assembly here. We are going to translate this C code into assembly instructions and click on ask now. So anyone wants to know what if else statement is? See, let's first see the code. The code is comparing between the number 10 and 0. If 10 is greater than 0, then yes will be printed. Or if there is one number that is less than 0, then no is going to be printed. But what's in an if else statement according to the CPU instructions? So let's just, forget all about this. Let's start from the start statement, this start flag. So if else statement is just a comparison statement. There is one comparison between 10 and 0. So in an if else statement, there are only two things. First, there is one comparison, and the other thing is the jump. Let me show you. The code is saying if 10 is greater than 0, jump to if block, else jump to else block. Yes, we know 10 is greater than 0, so we are going to jump to this block directly. And this code is going to execute and the program will be ended. So no else block will going to execute. But if the number is less than 0, then we are going to jump. GLE means jump to the block. So we are going to jump to the else block. So this whole if code is not going to be executed. From this point to this point, we will directly jump to else block by skipping the if block, and then end of the program. So see, if else is nothing, just a comparison and a jump statement. And in our next class, we are going to teach you even a function, even a switch case, even a for loop is just one comparison and a jump statement for computer. Yeah. So let's again, let's again come to your development task. Yeah, Rohan, now you can code operating system. We also have one course on how to build an OS using kernel, Linux kernel. Now let's again come to codespaces. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Now this is a React app. Let me just close this. And every time we restart the React app or revisit our application, the value of visitor counter is increasing. But do you know there is one error? So Angelina, do you know what's the error is?
It increases by 2 instead of 1 every time.
Yeah. It increases by 2 instead of 1. So let's again see this. And we have used local storage. So how to locate the local storage? Yeah, just okay. So let's click on view page. Let's click on inspect. And this type of interface will appear on your screen. And here just click on application. Yeah. So this is the local storage. And you can see this. So this is one variable visitor counter, and its value is saved as a key value pair. And if you want, you can right click it, and let me just rearrange it. Yeah. So let's again reload it. And you can even delete it. See, I have deleted the value. Let me close this. And again, it will start from 2. So the value has been saved in a local storage, but it's still, it is, increasing by the rate of 2, not by 1. So how we can debug this error? Anyone have any idea about this? Okay, so let me tell you. Let's again come to our application. And we are going to insert our secret code that always helps in debugging. So this is the name of the variable that is increasing its value by 1. Let's use console.log and log the value of count. Let me give one semicolon. It's not mandatory, but let's give. So every time the value of count will increase, it also prints the value of count. Okay. So let's again come to our React app and reload the value. See, it increases by 2. Let's inspect and click on console. Let me just show you this. So earlier the value is 19, 18, but it is increasing 2 times, 19 and 20. So it's not like that we have increased the value by +2. We have just used the code. This one. We are just using count ++ means increasing the value of count by only by 1. But here the value of console.log is printed 2 times. So it means the code, this code must be running 2 times. Just run the code 1 time. Why the code is running 2 times? So it seems the use effect may run 2 times, but we do not know what use effect is. There is one hook, use effect, but do not know what use effect is. So let's just ask Google for this error. So we are going to ask why use effect run 2 times in React.js when refreshing the page. So let's try to, read this. So let me just give you the same URL so that we can be all in the same solution. So let me tell you one special tip for debugging. If you do not able to find the result in less than 10 seconds, just abort the mission and visit some other URL. And for this, the answer always lies at the bottom. You can try it like with any code. Even if you're using Stack Overflow or any other blog, the answer will always be at the bottom because they want you to read the whole blog. So it is suggesting us to remove the strict mode. Okay. So you can read all the blog if you want to. The answer is that we just have to remove the strict mode. Because in strict mode, the use effect runs 2 times. See, if you are using React app, if you created your React app using create React app, you're likely to have this in your index.file or something. So we have to remove this code. So let's search for this keyword this time. Yeah. So let's again come to, let's search here. in the search option and see, we are able to find the source file for this code. Okay, so it is saying us that we just have to remove this. Okay, let's save this and see if there is any potential errors. No errors. Okay, so let's again come to React tab and reload our React tab. Okay, so now the value is increasing by 1. So let's again inspect to see console. Okay, see, only one time the value is logged to the console. So the code is now running only a single time. So yes, we have just removed this error. And let me just show you one more thing. This is the local storage. Yeah. Just click on this and you can delete this value. And now see, let me reload this. So the value visitor counter is now 1. And every time we will visit this application, the value of visitor counter will increase just by 1. Great. No, Rohan, you cannot share this across the users in class 3. We will, teach you how to share this across the users. We need a server for this to save this code or save the value of visitor counter somewhere. Okay. Now we have done with the code. So now let's save this code somewhere. Let me close all of this. So we are going to use, first we will save the code into the local repository, and then we are going to, in our local storage, in our GitHub codespaces environment, then we are going to upload that code or push that code to the GitHub repository. So let's do this to save our code. First, let's create a GitHub token. So in order to, use your GitHub account with and integrate your GitHub account to GitHub codespaces, you need one GitHub token. So let's create one GitHub token this time. So there is one link in the chat box. Just click on the link. And this type of interface will appear. And you just have to click on generate new token classic. And you just have to sign in into your account. Yeah, Rohan, thank you. Now right here, this is for demo. You can choose expiration according to you, but for the project purpose, let's choose no expiration. And you just have to select all those permissions. Just choose all the permissions. Click on the check boxes, all those check boxes. And click on generate token. So it will generate one token for you. Just copy this token and paste into your notepad. Because once you will close the page, this token will no longer appear. So copy this somewhere. Now, as we have copied this project from GitHub, it is connected to one remote repository and we have to delete that remote repository because we want this project to be ours, right? We do not want this project to be connected with any GitHub repository. So let's ask AI how to delete the remote origin in Git. So I have given you one prompt. How to delete the remote origin in Git, and click on ask now. So if you're able to do so, just type one in the chat box so that I know you haven't slept. Yeah. Thanks, Aniket. Thank you, Angelina. Yeah. So AI is suggesting us first to check the current remote repositories associated with your local Git repository. So let me just copy this and also paste it in the chat box. Where is the chat box? Here is the chat box. Just type git remote v here, and it is saying that we have the remote origin associated with us with this git project. Now, so to remove the remote repository, we have to use this command, git remote remove, and the name of the remote. So in our case, the name of the remote is origin. So let's delete this. Git remote remove origin. Again, let's check by using git remote v flag command, and no, see, it is not connected to any remote repository now. So we can do this as it's an open source project. It allows you to do anything. You just have to keep the original license. And now this project is all yours. You have created this project from scratch. You haven't copied that project, right? Now we have deleted the remote origin. Then I have told you to save one GitHub token. So you have to export this GitHub token to this terminal or this Linux environment. So I'm going to write this command because in our previous class, we do know how to set the Linux variable by using export command. So let me just copy this command for you and paste in the chat box. And you just have to copy your token and paste after the equals to sign. So I'm going to copy my token. I have saved it in the notepad and just hit enter. Now, first let's save our code. So you can ask AI, please give me some basic git commands. Same is in your chat box and click on ask now. And you can read this to know how to work with Git, right? Okay. So you can read all about this, but let me show you. The first command is git status. It will, told you about the status of the files. So there are some modified files and there are also new files added. So to add the new files, I'm going to use git add, and after that, I'm going to give one space and add the decimal sign. So it means I'm going to add all the files. Now I am going to commit the changes. For this, I am using -m flag for the message. And let me write some good message, visitor count, add. Always try to write the git commit message in present tense and always write a good commit message so that other collaborators also know that what are the changes that you have made. So let me also give you the command. And to add the changes or to add the file, you can use the git add command. After that, again use git status and see you are on branch main, nothing to commit, working tree clean. So now let's create a GitHub repository. For this, we are going to use the gh-repo create command. So I'm going to write gh-repo create here and click enter. So we are going to push an existing local repository to GitHub. We are not going to create a new repository on GitHub from scratch. So let's just click on push an existing local repository to GitHub. After that, the path will be default. I'm just going to hit enter and you just have to name your repository. So I'm going to name it my blog September 27, 2023. You can name it as you want. I'm just going to name it by date so that I know on which date I have created the project. The description will be empty. And for the visibility part, you can choose the visibility to be private. But as a collaborator, as a full stack developer, you also want to showcase your code to the entire world. So use public this time. And add a remote, just click on enter and yes will be selected. And just hit enter and it will be default be as origin. And yes, we like to push commits from current branch to origin. See, it has created a new GitHub repository for you. Let me just copy this and show you. See, this is the new GitHub repository that you have created. The other author has updated it 2 months ago, and you have also updated the code. You have added a visitor counter just 2 minutes ago. So now after doing all of this, for the last task, you just have to update your MIT license because now this project is all yours. Just check for the license file and click on the license file. Let me close this. So any idea what should we write in the license file? Angelina, do you have any idea what should we write in the license file? Okay, so maybe there are some network errors. Yeah. So I'm going to write this. That's good, Anike. So I'm going to write this. I am a 12 years old. I do not have pocket money. Please send me $5. You can use my source code for commercial purpose. So is that okay? So let me just delete this. It looks quite funny. See, money is also important, but if some bigger companies like Facebook or like X or any other big company will use your code, then they have to include your name into the license, and this thing is much more precious than $5, right? So I'm going to write this. My name is Tommy. I am learning full stack development. You can use my code, but just include the original copy of this license, including my name. Let me just save this. Yeah. Let's again use git status command. So this command will suggest that we have added some changes. So I'm going to use git commit -a-m as suggested by the message. License update. See, let's again use git status to see the status of our update. Okay, so it says that our branch is ahead of origin main, means our remote repository by one commit. So our origin main is ahead of one commit because we have added some changes into our license file. So to push this comment, we have to use git push. See, first let me show you this, the license. So it is still not updated, right? Because we haven't pushed the changes. So let's push the changes, use git push, and let's verify. See, the changes are now available. So you can use git push to push your changes from your local repository to your GitHub repository. So now this is the end of today's class. So in today's class, we learn important concepts about reverse engineering, how to use GitHub and Git, something about we have done some number operations, some if-else operations, and some basic shell commands. So this is your homework. You can learn about some shell commands. We will give you some information on your Discord channel. The Discord channel link is in the description. Just click on the Discord channel link, join the Discord channel link, and you will get your homework. Like, learn about shell commands, find grep. We are going to try if-else statement in different languages. We will try number to string and string to number conversion. We will also check about local storage, browser inspection tools, and learn about different type of licenses like GPL, LGPL, AGPL, and MIT. And for the last thing, I am going to delete my GitHub token so that you won't, use my GitHub token. So let me just delete my GitHub token. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining the class. Have a good day.